We've noticed that some global financial institutions have raised their forecast for China's economic growth this year. From your observations, what factors underpin this new outlook, and what are the positive drivers supporting China's economic resilience?
Well, China made the right adjustment of intensifying domestic demand. And I think the fiscal stimulus that was implemented continued to support this as well. The Chinese policymakers also have placed importance on efficiency, innovation, and these areas of digitalization and so on that raise their potential to support growth. And these are the elements that improve the growth prospects.
Let's look at the bigger picture. We've seen increasing uncertainties in the global trade landscape today. So how will the U.S. trade policies affect Asian economies and regional supply chains? And what steps could Asian nations take to bolster economic cooperation and resilience, particularly between Southeast Asia and China?
Yes, there are definitely increased challenges, all the geopolitical tensions, and then increase in protectionist policies. These have increased challenges. But there's one element that many emerging markets have, in particularly in Asia, that is the flexibility to adjust. You have labor mobility, capital mobility that can move to, and this is important for emerging economies that can make this adjustment as compared to the matured economies. I always make the reference that they have economic rigidities and we have economic flexibilities that is to our advantage.
How do you view China's progress in financial opening up and RMB internationalization?
Yes, this is a direction that is very important, and it's very important to be well managed. So what I believe is that these liberalization should be sequenced when preconditions are put in place. And important preconditions are you have to develop your financial markets well, especially like the bond market, and have the full maturity structure from the short-term papers right up to the longer-term 20 to 30-year paper, and then the whole infrastructure that is associated with financial markets, the information system, the settlement system, and so on. And I'm sure China has that in place. I believe going forward that while the US dollar will continue to be a very important reserve currency, but because the world is now becoming, perhaps the word it can be used, more fragmented. Different parts of the world are emerging as blocks, not just Asia, but others too. But Asia has a major advancement in this area because they worked very hard for it, not only in terms of economic and regional integration, but also the financial integration. And therefore, they will emerge as an important bloc, because I have heard from many other groups, not only in Latin America, in Africa, in the Middle East, they commented that Asia seems the most cohesive group, and this is because we had worked on it for many decades, and it was to build up our resilience, and we looked at what each other's comparative advantage was, and then we specialized and then had bilateral trade and then multilateral trade within our Asian region. And so it contributed to making our region prosper, and it was the word that we used to use is prosper thy neighbor, and so we had strong economic growth.
I wonder, as a renowned economist, what are your observations on the ongoing China-US trade dialogues, and what trends do you foresee in the bilateral economic relationship?
I think that is, we are not able to predict. China is not the only one that is affected. You have to have all the tools and resources and backup plans of how you're going to respond. But one thing that Asia has that is at our advantage, including for China, is that we have become a cohesive region. And I think that was one of the responses that was made many years ago, that we cannot do this on our own. We need the cooperation and collaboration. So we have bilateral swaps arrangements, we have bilateral trade agreements, we have so many things going on, and some of them are multilateral. We have financial safety nets and so on. We have a good chance of responding to these situations.
How do you see the potential of education cooperation between our two countries, China and Malaysia, especially in the finance studies?
Education, of course, we benefit from what has been developed in the West. They have a history of great education systems. But what is very important, and that is from my own experience, is the ability to contextualize this education to our own circumstances. And our own circumstances in the emerging world is so different from what they know. So what we have to learn what they know, because we have to engage with them.